experiences. You know what I'm saying? But like I always say, that's being overplayed to the point where nothing is happening, right? So anyway, so mentally, I got to really realize that, Angry Man breaks it down as a hostile environment. So also he touches on the condensation. You guys are condensing what should be 10 separate experiences to all at one time. 10 separate experiences all at one time. That shit would be like, imagine you being broke and all your bills hit on the same day. You know what I'm saying? Even if you got the money in your account, if let's just say that was possible, you know what I'm saying, that if you owe a certain amount of money and whatnot, every subscription you have, everyone can talk and get together. That's like, yeah, that's like if the Wi-Fi, the phone, the rent. Imagine if they all could talk, you know what I'm saying, and they all can get together and at any given time go ahead and just hit your account all at once, and you just keep getting notifications. You know what I'm saying, done, boom, boom, broke, go do Uber Eats, you know what I'm saying, just money go down, like oh, you know what I'm saying, like for a man, when even if you got the money, the larger the amount of money that's coming out your account, a man always feels a small part of him leave, whether he got it or not. You feel me? A small part of you leaves. And I can imagine, like, that's how women feel about relations, especially if it's relations with someone that they not really going to be with or who don't want to be with them. It's like, you're walking away with a part of me here. Come back, you know? So anywho, I want to get to this next point, and next point that he makes about this show. And again, men are catching on. Men are changing. The men are finally changing. The women been changing for a long time. And I talk to other men about this, about how men need to accept that the women are different and times are different, and it's time to change and change the rules, because the women continuously change the rules. Like when we got to a point where, first of all, the internet makes it to where every conversation can live, every idea, every subject, everything can live. So even if it's stupid, there's always going to be 100 to 1,000 people who can find each other on a social media post. Let's just say for the subject, maybe not necessarily the post, but the subject, that will come together and comment on the same thing. And you know what I mean? And if you read that comment section, you may really think, yo, this is not people. Don't get me wrong, comment sections are like live, like data. You know what I mean? But the more niche the idea, I'm just saying that any idea can grow. Any idea can grow legs. Put it like that. And we're seeing it more and more, right? Especially when it comes to relationships, especially when it comes to the concept of women do this a little more, but we all do this where if something applies to us and it benefits us, we try to relate to it. So, for example, I talked about how, or it's talked about more often, that women will talk about their grandfathers and their forefathers as if they weren't good men and they didn't have good relationships, and their grandmother and mothers and foremothers were only with these men out of desperation, or they had no choice. It was just a job. Basically, it was the color purple, and those are the kind of relationships they had. But on the same talking, how did I say it? You know what I'm saying. But on the other side of that, you'll hear women talk about how men used to be, how old-fashioned men were, how hard they worked and whatnot, and they're referring to Big Daddy. But so it's kind of weird. So on one hand, you'll say Big Daddy was abusive, he's a cheater, he just wasn't shit. And your grandma wasn't shit either. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? Before I get to my next point with that brings me into another video I wanted to share with Kevin Samuels, because I also wanted to touch on how Kevin Samuels made this. I won't say he made this happen, but Kevin Samuels changed how black folks think forever. Like, you know, I'll be in different places, and I've been hearing I don't know if this is on TikTok or not, but it's a parody of a kid song. I hear women say big back, big back, big back, big back. You know what I mean? So it's a parody of hold on. It's a parody. Okay. Let's go. It's a parody of a kid song. But what does big back mean? Big back mean you too fat, right? big back mean that you too fat. All right, we can get that right. So, but before Kevin Samuels came with the acronym, not even acronym, but the mantra of fit, feminine, and friendly in terms of what it's what all men are looking for, but especially quote unquote high value men. Okay, and also because again he would have these conversations where women would be overweight, or this is a video I showed the other day where he said basically he was talking about how a lot of women don't realize that the weight is a problem, and we can get into why that is at a different time, right? And he said I was talking to a woman. I said, how much do you weigh? She said I weigh 230 pounds. He's like, man, you weigh more than a linebacker. You know what I'm saying? And then he pulled up a football player and his stats and his weight, and she weighed more than a linebacker. You know what I mean? So, but at that time, that's where black folks' consciousness was at. That where we didn't realize, you know what, that is way too big for a woman to be. That's what helped me realize how big I was. You know what I mean? Like that's what watching that show. It was a combination of different things I watched. It was for me being in the dating market. A show I watched called From Fit to Fat to Fit. And also listening to Kevin kind of quote what the average weight was, which was 168 pounds. And I'm like, and that was the average weight as of the last census. All right, for the American male. And I was like, man, and I started thinking about if I wanted to have a six pack, or if I wanted to be lean, how much weight would I have to lose? And I arrived at, I gotta lose 100 from where I am now. I'll have to lose about 100 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Now my weight went back up a little bit, but since 2021, I'll say some stuff from the beginning of 2021 until like now. And well, I'm sorry, I'll say to this year because like I don't know, I somehow put on like 10, 15 pounds. But I've lost collectively. I've been low as 254. So when I first started and whatnot, I think I probably started 2021 at about 320, like 325 probably. You know what I'm saying? So I lost about let me see, 45. So I've lost between like 50 and 60 pounds. You know what I'm saying? So and I've maintained that for the most part. But anywho, but the thing was that before these conversations, black people didn't think a lot of things there was a problem with a lot of different things. Also, he exposed how low black men's self-esteem was. But I wanted to go ahead and just show this clip real quick with him talking.